Never forget that everything is possible through consciousness. Never forget this. It's really difficult. It's so easy, I should say. Maybe it's not. It's so easy to get sucked up in minute details of your own life, right? But these things don't matter at all. They're so minuscule. Now imagine the best thing you can possibly imagine. The most perfect reality, the most perfect world. And I'm not just talking about like, a tropical beach, music, and good food. I'm not talking about that, although that's awesome, that's great. But what I'm talking about is an expanded mind view of how reality works. What if, you could manifest anything you wanted instantly? Instantly. What if, and I'm talking about teleportation, I'm talking about science fiction, whatever you want, alright? What if everything was seriously possible, anything was seriously possible for you, right now? If everyone believed this, right? And it's logical too. If you believe something, it has to show up for you. Other words, if you believe something, it has to be true for you, literally, because that's what a belief is. If someone believes that they are going to die, they 100% believe it, what is going to happen? They are going to die. If someone 100% believes that they're going to get $1 million, what's going to happen? They're going to get $1 million. That's how it works. That's how beliefs work. So imagine if we all believed in infinite possibilities. And infinite possibilities isn't just like, within this paradigm, I can make this much money, I can get this type of house. That's so minuscule. Infinite possibilities is like, I can fly. Infinite possibilities is like undescribable. It's infinite, but it's so beyond what we think of when we're trying to manifest something. We're trying to manifest something, and we're like, oh, why isn't this showing up? Why isn't this showing up? I'm trying to manifest it. I'm trying to get into that feeling state of it. But your mind is already so conditioned down to think that that's what you want. Like, oh, I want $1 million. Now, relatively on this world, with your conditioned mind, with our conditioned reality, yes, we want $1 million, because for us this symbolizes, or it's freedom, or it symbolizes, it's abundance, closer to the reality of the universe, the resting state of the universe, which is abundance and bliss and love. So $1 million to us symbolizes being closer to the reality of the universe than we are currently. Of course, we are already there, but that $1 million is a conditioned idea in the first place. So it's something you want to manifest, and it's out of good intent, but that's a conditioned manifestation because you've been told that $1 million will get you this, 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 and this, which is nothing wrong with it. That could be very useful for you. But what if everybody in the world could realize that they can do anything with their mind? Like the best movie you've ever watched. What if that was the truth? How good does that feel? And if it feels really good, that's your emotions telling you it's true, because the emotional guidance system fucking works. Everything is possible. Anything is possible, right? It's gotta be, because we're in infinity. If we are in infinity, everything has to be possible. And if we are in infinity, that must also mean that everything is in the same point of existence, which is consciousness, because nothing that exists is not conscious of existing. There is no existence apart from consciousness, of being conscious of it. And it's impossible to prove otherwise, because you must be conscious of something for it to exist. Try to prove outside of that. It's impossible. But my point is, you want to manifest a car, maybe, right? I want a car. I want a Lamborghini. That's awesome. That's a great pointer. But what about fucking flying? What about teleporting? That's also possible. What about something closer to the reality, which is that there is no point B in the universe. There's only ever point A. There's not point A and point B. There's only point A. And you're already there. And you can instantaneously do whatever you want with your mind. And everyone realizing that. Imagine the change in the world if everybody realized that. The change would be incredible. And even if you don't believe anything I'm saying, imagine if you felt like that. Imagine if you felt like you could do that. How empowering you would feel. How empowered you would feel. How you would feel like so fucking good. And it would help. Even if it wasn't true, it would help you out. Because you believed it. Because you believed you could do anything. And you were so confident about it. It would be beautiful. It would be amazing. Even if you don't believe any of it's possible right now. If you're like, wow, what is this fucking guy talking about, right? That's all science fiction. It's all movie shit. Well, the movies are literally placed there so that you won't believe what's possible. Think about it. What is the best way to enslave people? Put something in a fucking movie, make it seem like it's impossible because it's in a movie, and then they believe it's impossible. We're so used to being here on this planet, even though we haven't even been here for very long. We think everything's normal. Everything's normal, everything's safe, everything is my thoughts of it, but it's not. We don't know where we are. We don't know the paradigm that we're in, not really. We don't know why we're here. Oh, I'm here to make money, hang out with my family, and drive my four-wheeler around. Nothing wrong with that. That's amazing. That's beautiful. That's an amazing existence. It can be. But just think of the changes that would occur throughout our civilization if we believed we could manifest stuff with our minds instantaneously. Which is, that's also a distortion, but it's closer to the truth of reality than our current distortion. But imagine the changes, right? So, the changes would be exponential. We wouldn't need cars to get around because we would realize that, once again, there is no point B. We wouldn't need cars to get around, and therefore there wouldn't be a problem with fuel. And then, therefore, there wouldn't be a problem with oil. And then, if we realize that we are the power of the universe, we are the creators of the universe, we wouldn't need electricity like we need it now. We wouldn't need all these wires. We wouldn't need people to put up electricity. We wouldn't need money. We wouldn't need anything that we currently believe that is necessary for existence. So, think about, Elon Musk said, the biggest problem he sees in engineers is engineering something that shouldn't exist in the first place. That's what we're doing everywhere in the world. Cars create problems, right? Electricity creates problems. It doesn't solve problems. It actually creates more problems, more things to solve. So the question isn't how do we make a better car? The question would be, you need to break from the whole paradigm of, the question is the fact that we don't need a car, right? Everything is possible. You need to break out from the paradigm. And this is just an example. So think about a car. I'm just going to use this as an example. A car is so fucking primitive. It can only travel two-dimensionally, right? Like, you can't go up and down. I mean, but as soon as you have a car, right, a vehicle, then all of a sudden you need roads. And then all of a sudden you need mechanics. And you need all of this bullshit, this extra add-on problem stuff. Where if you had a different view, every single problem that's associated with a car would disappear, right? Like, the only advantage a car offers is speed. But think about it, like, it's such a primitive vehicle. Like, think about our vehicle, which is our body. We're consciousness incarnated in this vehicle. We're already in a vehicle. And our vehicle is much more capable than a car is. Now, it can't go as fast, or so we think, but it can interact three-dimensionally with our environment, right? Now, we're already in a three-dimensional body. We already can interact three-dimensionally, so why are we using a two-dimensional vehicle? That's what we're using with a car. Two-dimensional. It can only travel two-dimensionally. And I have to stick to the grid of roads that's been in place and how much money had to go into making the roads. And you see what I'm saying? So the fundamental problem isn't like, how do I make a faster car? How do I make a more fuel-efficient car? How to make a alternative fuel for a car? The fundamental problem is the car. Your consciousness is already channeling this body. You're already associating. You're not the body. You're associating with the body. And now you're in a vehicle already. And then you get in another vehicle. So you're double vehicled up. Like, you wouldn't, if you wanted to travel underwater, you wouldn't figure out a vehicle that you could pull your car into and then travel underwater. You would design a new vehicle. That's what I'm saying. You would never, if you wanted to fly, you get in a plane. You don't figure out a way from your car to get in a plane. You know, like, it's not, so you're already in that vehicle that is a car. You are the vehicle already. And this vehicle is actually perfect to interact with its environment. A car is sort of a downgrade. Now, it offers an advantage of speed, or so we think, because we've been conditioned. But that's the only advantage it really offers. Everything else is a problem. And this can be applied to any system, pretty much, that we currently have in place. Any system that's currently in place could be not just redesigned, but completely eradicated. And from an infinite point of view, our current designs are so primitive, and we're so proud of them. We're so proud of them, but they're so primitive. The more complex something is, the more complexity that you have to go to, like, think about a car engine, how complex that is. And the idea is, the more technologically advanced that you are, the more complex the mechanics of something would be. But no, true intelligence would be understandable, would be simple. True intelligence, a true intelligent design would be super basic, super. The more complex that you're making something, the more primitive that thing's becoming, in a way. cars are like fucking so out of date. If your consciousness, right? We know about astral projection. If your consciousness and you are associating with this body so that you can interact with this reality. But you're not the body, you're the consciousness, right? Astral projection, you can leave your body. Meditation, you can leave your body. You're not your body. When you die, you leave your body. So why the fuck would you pull your vehicle into another vehicle so that you can interact with the 3D world? It's so extra. It's so primitive. You're already consciousness in a vehicle, and then that vehicle gets another vehicle. You wouldn't pull this vehicle into another vehicle, would you? Unless you're Elon Musk and you're designing an underground system where you pull your vehicle into another vehicle. And now you're 4 vehicles deep. It's very meta. Elon Musk, though, has that quote. The fundamental flaw with engineers is over-engineering something that shouldn't exist in the first place. That's what he's fucking doing. We don't need another vehicle to pull our already vehicle that we're already a vehicle inside of, you know? Instead, we should be focused on training our consciousness. If our consciousness is free, right? And we're already associating, or our consciousness is, you could say, I guess, within this, identifying as this body and able to move this body around. Why wouldn't we create a vehicle that we can send our consciousness into? And it's sort of like if you're in the military and they want like drones, right? Drones are good for warfare because it reduces casualties. But you still need, and I don't know, they probably have AI for some drones, but they have pilots for the drones that are back in a home base, right? But instead of that, which is still an extra step, you still have to have somebody manning it. Why don't you meditate, leave your body, and then go into a vehicle, a new vehicle that is able to do more things. You wouldn't bring a car underwater because the car isn't made for underwater, right? You wouldn't bring that's what I'm saying, like, if you want to go to outer space, why the fuck bring your body? Your body's not made for outer space, it's made for Earth. So take your consciousness and go into a new body. We need to design new bodies that interact with these new environments. We want to go in outer space. What do you think a flying saucer is? It's a body that you can put your consciousness into, and of course they're having trouble, or they were at least, figuring out how they're manned and how they're operated, because they're not operated, there's not a vehicle inside a vehicle. You're not operating it from your already, you know what I mean? So you're operating your current vehicle, and then you're operating another vehicle. Wouldn't it be simpler to just leave the current vehicle and go into the new vehicle and operate it consciously without, you know what I'm saying? It's so, that's just one aspect that I've been thinking about with reality. One aspect with cars and how unnecessary they are. And then you could apply that to anything. And of course, remember where we're coming from. We're coming from the ultimate point of view, which is infinity. Now, infinity has to come from consciousness. It has to come from one thing. There must be a source for all in order for it to be infinite, because everything's a paradox, just like that. It's very logical. So we're all the exact same thing, which is consciousness. And within infinity, anything that you can possibly think of is possible. Because if it was impossible, how could you think of it? How could you imagine something up that's outside of infinity, right? It's not possible. Your imagination is also contained in infinity. So anything you can imagine is also equal to infinity. It's not whatever I can imagine is outside of infinity, right? Like, oh, I imagine flying. That's not possible. That's out. What, you're saying it's outside of infinity? Flying is outside of infinity. If you can think of it, it's inside infinity. There's no such thing as outside infinity because it contains everything. So from that point of view, where everything is possible, anything is possible, all is possible, by definition, right? By our own definition, by our own current definition. You don't even have to change your views, right? Even if you don't think the universe is infinite, what do you think? There's a wall at the end of the universe? Like, let's say you could zoom in smaller and smaller and smaller into the ground. You think at some point there's going to be a wall where you can't zoom in any further? And then if you could zoom out, you think there's a point where you couldn't zoom out anymore? There would be a wall? Doesn't make sense, right? There's just a wall around there's just a stopping point. You are literally everything. And you are infinite. Everything is possible. And if we could all believe that, get into that belief system, the world would change. And imagine the government wouldn't be needed anymore because everyone could just manifest for themselves whatever the fuck they want, and there would be no need for fighting because no longer can this guy, he doesn't have enough money to buy his groceries, so he goes out and steals. It wouldn't be needed because he can just manifest his fucking groceries. He wouldn't even need groceries in the first place. A drug addict. Homeless. These are problems. We're creating them to be problems because we've forgotten what we are. It's ridiculous, all right? And we keep getting caught up. It's so easy to get caught up in this world because everybody else believes it. Everybody else is just going along with this bullshit. And that's what it is. Straight bullshit. It's not true. You've been lied to about every single detail of everything. Everything. We gotta break out. We gotta break out. And nobody's gonna stop you. There's no CIA individual or government employee or special ops that can stop you from breaking the fuck out of this paradigm and becoming infinity, what you truly are. Right? We don't need to work jobs. We don't need to work jobs because there's nothing to get done in the first place. You are already capable of anything. So if you're already capable of anything, why would we need to have production of anything? It's all already contained inside you. So no, I'm going to go to work and, you know what I mean? Like, what if you worked in a factory? I got to go to work and create plastic Tupperware every day. I'm creating plastic Tupperware so that people can package food in it. Well, what if you are consciousness and you are infinite and you don't actually even need to eat? You're literally just spending time doing nothing, which is beautiful. It's beautiful, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. But completely unnecessary. Completely. We came here to be infinite. We came here to fucking fly. We were infinite before this, and we went, ooh, look, they think they're not infinite. That's fun. Let's go down there. They think that they're not infinite. Oh my God. That's hilarious. You know what I mean? You're probably right before you fucking incarnated here. You were like looking down, and you're just laughing your ass off at all these people who are like pretending to be upset. I gotta go to work. I got nothing to do today. I gotta work. Infinity is the natural state of the universe. It's not hard to get there. Manifestation is what's always happening. It's not hard to get there. Being unlocked, having your chakras open, is the natural state of the universe. It's not hard to get there. Being free, this is the natural state of the universe. It's not hard to get there. It's what's happening right now. And yeah, we've been so conditioned, but that's not our fault. That's not our fault. It's not our fault. Don't blame yourself because you're conditioned. All right. That's enough. I've arrived at my destination. I'm literally in a car right now. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm not able to fly or teleport yet. But I will be.